Hey book friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Paula and today we are doing my July wrap-up video. So in the month of July, I read a total of 9 books. That's pretty average for me. I'm not the fastest reader, but I can usually do a couple books a week. So 9 is pretty good for me, and yeah, I'm excited to talk about these books. We have an arc in there. I read an entire series. I read my first real taboo romance, so it was definitely a good month. So let's go ahead and get started. So book number 1 that I read this month was Dotted Lines by Devney. This is book number 5 in the Runaway series. I really love the idea of this series of basically a Cadillac going from the east coast of the US to the west, passing through a different person in a friend group. This whole friend group grew up in a junkyard in California. They've all dispersed around the US. They're all living their lives. They got out of what their situations that they were in. And the Cadillac has worked its way across the US. And in book 5, it is now in Clara's hands. Clara is a single mom to a little boy. And Clara has always been in love with Carson, who is the one and only boy who lived in the junkyard with them. So she is taking the Cadillac out to California to see Carson, who she hasn't seen in a long time, and to get some closure from that part of her life. I kind of liked the layout of this book. The first chunk of it was a lot of flashback and seeing their time in the junkyard, which you didn't really see a lot of in the first 4 books. So that was kind of interesting to see. And then the second half was current time when they meet up, they start to fall back in love, things like that. Clara's always had a crush on Carson. So I thought it was really interesting. I gave this book a 4-star rating, so pretty good. I'm pretty generous with my ratings. It's rare that a lot of books get less than 4 stars, to be honest. That's just me. But this is a second chance, childhood friends to lovers, single parent, small town romance. So I'm not a huge fan of friends to lovers, but I liked this one because of what their childhood was like and that they needed each other. So I did enjoy this one. Like I said, this one got a 4-star for me. Next up this month was Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. I was so excited to start with this series. I had never read anything Sophie Lark before. I found her on TikTok a couple months ago when she was talking about the Anastasia book that she's writing, and I love Anastasia. So I was like, I have to find out who this is. I've got to read her books ASAP. This is the only one that I have in physical copy. Every other one that I read this month was on my Kindle. But this is Callum and Ada's book. I love Callum and Ada, and I've come to find out that people either really like them or they're not the biggest fan of them. Which I can see, but I love Ada specifically. She is my spirit animal. I want to be her. I want to be that sassy. I want to have all of those qualities. Yeah, I just love Ada. My favorite fruit is strawberries, so if you know, you know. But this book follows the 2 families, so Ada Gallo, who is from the Italian mafia family in Chicago, and Callum Griffin, who is part of the Irish mafia family in Chicago. Ada ends up at Callum's house for a party, and she does something not so great. And to fix the ties between the families, they arrange a marriage between the 2 of them. And it's their story from there. So forced proximity, arranged marriage, marriage of convenience. There's a little bit of an age gap in here. Enemies to lovers, but I love them a lot. This was an easy 5-star for me. Next up is Stolen Heir by Sophie Lark. So this is number 2 in the Brutal Birthright series. This follows Nico and Nessa. Nessa is Callum's younger sister, and Nico is part of the Polish mafia family, which we kind of are introduced to quickly in the first one. This one, I'm not gonna lie, probably an unpopular opinion, it wasn't my absolute favorite. It got a 4.5 star for me by the end. But I had heard so many people talk about how much they love Miko and he's their favorite, and it took me till the end of the book to really like Miko. I just felt like he was super cruel at times and kind of unnecessary. unnecessarily cruel. I love Nessa. I think she's so sweet. She's just so nice. She doesn't want anything to do with being in a mafia family. She just wants to be her best self. She's a dancer. She just wants to do what she loves. This is a Beauty and the Beast sort of retelling. So she is captured by Nico and she is held captive in his house. And slowly they fall in love. So definitely a little bit of a forbidden romance. Definitely a grumpy sunshine, rivals, revenge sort of storyline. By the end, I loved the book. I gave it 4.5 stars. But not my absolute favorite. Miko's not my fave. Unpopular opinion. All right, next up was my ARC for this month, and I was so beyond excited to read this. This is Nothing Less Than Everything by Maggie Gates. I love Maggie's books. They are so good. I found her last year. She's a fairly new author within the last year and a half, I think. She's got 2 standalones now and a series of 6 books. But Nothing Less Than Everything is her first sports romance. So Nothing Less Than Everything follows Tatum and Ren. Tatum is a pro football player. He just got transferred over to a team on the East Coast. Ren is an interior designer, home designer, and she's also a cheerleader for the pro football team. And they meet when she is tasked to kind of design his apartment. They don't tell each other kind of who they are. She doesn't recognize him as a pro football player. He obviously has no idea that she's a cheerleader. He just transferred to the team, so he has no idea. And they find out in a very odd occurrence of him tackling her on the sidelines during a game. And there's a rule within the football team and the football community. Players and cheerleaders are not allowed to date. They can't have any sort of relationship. So it's them kind of figuring out how to keep their relationship alive. I loved this so much. It was an easy 5-star for me. Tatum is a giant teddy bear with a very dirty mouth, which we love. We love those kinds of heroes. And Ren is just trying to figure out her life. She's trying to figure out what she wants to do, if she wants to stay with this company, if she wants to move on to something else. And watching them kind of hide their relationship and trying to figure out how they're supposed to make it work in real life was really exciting. So I loved this. It is now available on Amazon. You can go read it. All of Maggie's books are on Kindle Unlimited as well. Go read them. They're great. All right, so you jump back into the Brutal Birthright series with Savage Lover. This is Camille and Nero's book. Nero is part of the Gallo family, so the Italian mafia family. Camille has no relationship to the mafia at all. They're acquaintances from school, and it's their romance. She is a car mechanic. She is taking care of the shop that her family runs and owns. Her mother has left. She is an exotic dancer. She did not want anything to do with Camille or her younger brother. And Camille's father is now ill, so Camille is really just taking on all of the tasks for her family. Nero loves cars, so it makes sense for them to kind of get together and fall in love. This was not my fave. To be honest, there wasn't as much excitement, and I just didn't feel the connection with these characters as much as I did with some of the other books in this series. I still really enjoyed it, but it got a 4-star from me. Okay, next up is Bloody Heart within the Brutal Birthright series. This book, so good. So good. I heard so many people talk about this book, and I was worried I was not going to like it. I was obsessed. It's got a 4.75. It was so close to being a 5-star for me. So Bloody Heart follows Dante and Simone. I love these two so much. I loved that this was kind of like a flash forward. We got the beginning of their relationship when they were a little bit younger. This is an age gap. I love a good age gap. Dante is part of the Gallo family, so the Italian mafia family. Simone is not part of a mafia family, but her father is in the political world. I want to say he's an ambassador of some sort. I can't remember off the top of my head. I tried to ignore her parents. Her parents were awful humans sometimes. But watching them fall in love, Simone and Dante, I freaking love them. The balcony scene, that's all I'm gonna say. If you've read the book, you know. But I loved this book. It tore my heart out. Watching them try to reconnect as adults was so difficult to watch. Some of the things that they went through, especially Simone, with some of the shit she had to go through, trying to get back with Dante and back into the world of Chicago. That book was wild, absolutely wild, but I loved it so much. 4.75. Next up is Broken Vow. Broken Vow, I was obsessed with. I freaking love it. This follows Raylan and Riona. Raylan is, I believe, Callum's friend. Might be Dante's friend. Why can't I remember? I'll figure it out and I'll put it right here. And then Riona is part of the Griffin family. So she is the middle child of the Irish mafia family. She is a lawyer. She is a badass. She is working her butt off. She basically is the lawyer for her family, and for her family's companies and all of that. And there is someone trying to kill her. She almost gets drowned in the pool of her apartment. And then Raylan is brought in basically to be her bodyguard. He was a sniper in the army, so he's very much prepared for this. There's a couple other things that happen, and then her apartment gets set on fire. And that was kind of Raylan's breaking point. He was like, nope, we gotta go. So he takes her across the country to his farm in Tennessee, his family's farm in Tennessee. So it's like a hiding out, bodyguard, romance, small town farm. He's a rancher. He is a horse whisperer. I fell in love with Raylan so quickly. I loved him so much. I was a little bit worried about Riona, and I know I've heard Sophie say in a few interviews that she was worried that people weren't going to like Riona either. I didn't like her in the other books. I loved her in her book. She's so strong. She's such a badass woman. I love her. I love her so much. And just seeing them try and figure out this relationship when obviously they both have an attraction to each other, they keep denying it. I love a good like bodyguard, police officer sort of vibe romance. So this was right up my alley. 5 stars. Okay, next book is Heavy Crown, which is the last book in the Brutal Birthright series. I loved this one. This was Sebastian and Yelena. So Sebastian is, I believe, the youngest or the second youngest in the Gallo family. And then Yelena is the daughter of the Russian mafia family. So you've got the Italians and the Russians. Basically, Sebastian is like falls in love with her, love at first sight sort of situation. He saves her from being kidnapped and thrown into the trunk of a car. And then you find out that it's actually a trap set for Sebastian. Yelena's father is trying to coerce him in. He's trying to get her to convince him to fall in love with her. He has a plan for the gallows. He wants to take control of Chicago. He doesn't want any other mafia families involved. So she's keeping this secret from him. He's falling in love. She's falling in love. And just watching them figure out the relationship while she's trying to keep this secret from him. And then chapter 15 hits. I'm not going to say anything. If you haven't read the book, I'm not going to spoil anything for you. If you have read the book, chapter 15 destroyed me. I had no clue it was coming. And from then on, everything kind of flips. He finds out what she was keeping from him and is so unbelievably angry with her. And then it just like goes. The story just like flies. He's on a rampage trying to fix what happened earlier in the story. And this book goes so fast. There's so much action in it. It's a great way to wrap up the series. This got a 4.5 stars for me. I really liked the epilogue because it sets you up for her other series, which is the Kingmaker series, which is about their children. So I really like that. I kind of wish I had gone right into Kingmakers right from reading Brutal Birthright, but I decided I needed a little bit of a break in between. I wanted to read a couple other things, but I loved this one as well. 4.5 stars. I loved the series overall. I give the series probably a 4.5 stars overall. And then my last book of the month was Unconditional by QB Tyler. This was my first QB Tyler book I'd ever read, and I loved it. This book was for the Give Me All the Spice book club that is run by Emily, Janae, and Alex. I will have their links down below if you want to go and join. You can just message one of them to join the book club. But this was my very first like real taboo romance. This follows Cal and Maddie. Maddie, when she was younger, I think around 7, Cal found her in a closet in her house. She had been hiding from her parents. Her father murdered her mother and then killed himself. And so she was hiding. Cal was the police officer that found her, and they began a very strong connection. He basically took her in, was her legal guardian, never adopted her, never assumed that she was his daughter, was just her legal guardian. She didn't have any other family. And then over time, both Maddie and Cal start to grow feelings for each other. Maddie is the first one to do it. She hides it away for a while. And then I believe on her 17th birthday is when Cal kind of flips and realizes, oh shit, why do I have feelings for her? And so it's their romance and trying to navigate that with the age gap. I think he's 21 years older than her, I believe, in and around that. But trying to, you know, be together with his family, his brother, his sister-in-law, his mother, trying to figure all that out. Her friends trying to hide it from them and make sure no one figures out, because he is the chief of police as well, so he knows that he's in a really tricky spot, because he's really towing the line on legal versus illegal, and all of that stuff. But I really enjoyed the book. I thought it was so well done. It got a 4.75 rating from me, and I loved Cal and Maddie. Maddie definitely pulled a little bit young. I mean, she was 17, 18. She had moments of being really mature. She had a couple moments of being kind of on the immature, why don't you love me sort of side. But overall, I really loved the chemistry between the two of them. So that was my July wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Let me know down below what your favorite book from the month of July was that you read, and let me know a book that's on your August TBR as well. I am planning on filming an August TBR video, so that will be up soon. But I love you all, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!